Thank you so much for asking. And it was late when I got this message. I'm like, I'm not going to do something at 2:30 in the morning. So here's my answer. I've got this shirt that says Abortion Holocaust Survivor. I made it myself. And the reason why is because in 1973, the year that I was born, abortion became legal in America. Now, since then, I've been told, okay, I don't fact check every last thing, but roughly, I've been told that 1 out of 3 people has been killed by abortion. So it is a Holocaust. It's killed more people than all of our nation's wars combined, okay? And when I went to Israel, we went to the gates of hell. And in the gates of hell, they would sacrifice their children. So when they would sacrifice their children to demons, to false gods, one of the ways that they did that was they would throw them into this water, which was the gates of hell, the mouth of hell, if you will. And they would continue to throw their children in there until the water flowed out red down the river somewhere. And then they would know that the devil god had had enough blood and they were going to get good crops and things like that. And we look at that today and we go, that's horrible. You people are monsters. How could you possibly do something like that? They would also do something, they sacrificed their children to idols. They would have orgies, okay? And then the children that came from those orgies, they would pass them through the fire. And what that means is they would have a metal plate with a fire underneath it, and they would put their children, their babies, onto this plate and pass them through the fire. They would sacrifice them to these demons, to these false gods. And we'd think about that and we go, who would do such a thing? Who would sacrifice their own child? But I saw a video and it really brought it into perspective. This guy was talking to a girl and he's like, we do child sacrifice today. And she's like, no, we don't. And he goes, when a girl gets an abortion and she wants to have a better job, so she doesn't want to have the baby. She wants to have a better life, so she doesn't have the baby, and so on and so forth. That's a child sacrifice. And she goes, no, it's not. She just wants to have a better job. And he goes, and so she sacrifices the child so that she can have a better job, a better life, more money, the man that she wants, whatever in the world it is, fill in the blank. And the father too. The father sacrifices his child so that he can have freedom, so that he can have more money, so that he can have, more time for video games and sleeping around or whatever in the world it is that he does. And this is horrible. Okay, this is a horrible, horrible thing that we've done. I heard at church years ago that there are more live births than there are, there are more abortions than there are live births in New York. I was like, that cannot possibly be true. And so I Googled it, and sure enough, and I think it was in 2012 or something like that, there were 1.5 times as many abortions as there were live births. And people make arguments, and they say, oh, well, it's the woman's right and all this thing, right? But I just want to let you know, I was one of the first to survive this. I was in that batch the first year. My mom could have been like, you know what? I don't want you. I want to continue to party and do drugs and whatever other things, right? But instead, she's like, I'm choosing you. I'm not going to sacrifice you for my selfish things. And I'm grateful to her, and I thank her. And she goes, it's not too late. I could still abort you. She's never said that. When I make that joke, she doesn't think it's very funny. However, the fact that we continue to do this and that we so violently get mad at anybody who stands up and says, hey, I don't think this is right, is horrific to me. I think that one day we will look back and go, yeah, can you believe we used to do that? Just like we look back and we go, can you believe they put their children, can you believe they did that? They sacrificed them, but we're doing the same thing. And I think that we have different labels, and so we don't think that we're doing bad things, right? Like, the devil likes to change the names of things, and so we go, oh, but we're not doing that thing, we're doing this thing. You're like, it's the same thing. We're doing the same thing. Anyway, I realize I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I said what I said.